Hello, listeners, and welcome to the Turnin Dirt podcast, where we talk all things agriculture and maybe a few other notable topics. This episode is powered by Mazer Group. Mazer Group is a family-owned and operated New Holland dealer complex consisting of 18 locations across Saskatchewan and Manitoba. I'm your host, John Mazer. Today, we have Doug Green from Lazy Y Grain and Cattle. Did I get that right?
You nailed it, yep.
Right on. Perfect. I clapped there. I didn't have to clap anyway. Doug, I met him in an earlier episode. He brought his son Carson in, who is the author and founder of Everything Country magazine. So you got to be very proud of that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. He started that. Carson started it over the pandemic, and he is about to release his 5th issue, and it's coming around the corner in June. So very happy with that. Doug, you are, did I see 3rd generation in your farm?
4th generation.
4th generation in your farm, okay. And so out of Mossbank, Lazy Y Grain and Cattle, I'm going off of information I got from Carson, but you know what, I'm going to let you tell me about that. So give me a snapshot of the farm right now, size, kind of history, anything you like.
Okay, I guess my great-grandfather come from England in 1910 and started homesteading. They had 2 children, a daughter that passed away at a young age, and then my grandfather, and he kind of kept farming all through the years. Went off to World War II, come back, continued to farm. He had a family kind of later in life, and that would be my dad. And Dad moved 3 miles north of the homestead and started his operation, and here I am today.
So there's a history of agriculture in the family, and it's so awesome that, I mean, there was the homestead, and then there was they going off to war in World War II and coming back, and whereas that was your grandfather that went to World War II?
Yes,
correct. Yeah. And so did he have kids before or after the war?
After the war.
The war. So this family tree could have kind of stopped.
It would have been the end of the greens.
It would have been end of the greens. So so awesome that it's continuing. So you're 4th generation, Carson's 5th generation. You said that grandfather had his homestead, and then your dad moved a couple miles down the road. Is that the farm that you're currently at right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so you and the family live on the farm?
Yes.
Yeah. And where did Dad go?
He's still there. We built a house just on the other side of the yard, kind of thing. And
so there was live-in babysitters, is what you're saying.
That's right. Yeah.
That's very smart, man. We, my wife and I just had we have a 2.5-year-old. We have 2 10-year-olds from previous marriages, but the 2.5-year-old and moving to Regina, all of our moms and dads are in Brandon. It's the opposite of what you had. So you just try and get through it, right? So okay. So you're on the second homestead from your dad or not the homestead, I guess, the second farm that your dad bought, I'm assuming. Yeah. And just going back, I want to touch base on immigrating over here, your great grandfather. Like, do you know the process back in the day there? Because my dad said it before, but wasn't it like you got a free quarter section or a quarter section for very cheap or something like that's how you homesteaded?
Yeah, I don't know all the details, but there was some kind of, you had to do some improvements within 2 years. You had to break 40 acres, I think, and maybe put some kind of structure out there like a house. Yeah. And then you could stay.
Gotcha. So it was free then, maybe, as long as you did those things.
I think that's I think that's how they settled it.
Yeah.
And,
I'll have to ask Pops when he's on here, because I'm waiting for the 15th episode to bring him on. So he's kind of sought after, and I want to make sure I'm refined to do it, because it's my idol sitting across the table, and I'm going to seize up pretty quick. So, so maybe he has this better story, but that makes sense, because that was kind of the story that I got, is that there is you're coming over here, there's barren land, it's free, but you got to do something to it.
I can only imagine though, somebody wants to give you some free land, you're going to go for it.
Absolutely.
But then you get here and there's nothing. It's cold, it's windy.
Yes. Yeah. No. This is some of the flattest land. Obviously from Manitoba, it's kind of, there's tree banks here and tree banks there, and separate. You go south of the city here, on your way to Mossbank, get going down number 6, it's flat.
Yeah.
And there's nothing out there. And you got to, that's work land right now, right? So, but even Dad would say, because he didn't move out of Saskatchewan until he was 9, would say he remembers going out in the field and collecting arrowheads and stuff . Yeah. So we're not talking crazy years back that like there was still barren land, and I think there's a few whether it be quarter sections or acres that are unworked to this day.
Yeah, we actually have some.
Oh, do you?
We run cattle on that's virgin prairie, I guess you call it.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. So it has never been worked. Like you've never sown anything. Really?
Just put barbed wire fence around the outside, and that's just it. And
wow, that's something else. Yeah, because I mean, it just that's the way God made that earth, right? Like I mean, it's crazy to think about that, because I mean, you know, when we're in an egg industry, that all you do is turn dirt, right?
Yeah,
that's all you do. That's right. So, lazy Y grain and cattle.
Yeah,
I had to figure out which cattle or grain went first, but I figured it out. So on the cattle side, how many head?
200.
200. Okay. And again, I'm an amateur in this. Are they dairy cow?
No, they're beef cow.
Okay, right on. Okay, perfect. Right. So there's a season where they calf, and okay, right on. I try to know, but I don't know, but I try to know. And then on the grain side, I remember having a conversation with you and Carson about the equipment you run. You run Deere, which is, again, like, I'm not biased to our listeners. I'm not biased to any sort of color. Obviously, I prefer New Holland, but they all make good stuff. They all make very good stuff.
They do, and that's what I always tell Carson is you deal with people, and we have a good dealership back home. They take care of us. They, you know, if we have a breakdown, they're out there. If we have any needs, they understand. They help. And it doesn't really matter what color equipment you run. If you have that, that's the bottom line. That's what you need.
Couldn't agree more with you. Like, I mean, the dealership itself and our principles are based off of the relationship with the customer and how well you can look after. So, I mean, again, whatever color you have in the field, if the dealer is looking after you, like, I mean, if my sales guys went there and they said they just have a relationship with South Country, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If they have a relationship with South Country, like, I mean, you can't knock that, because I mean, we have people that we have a relationship with that would tell the South Country guy to take a hike. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, we get it. Like, I mean, I don't mind brand loyal customers that have a good dealer looking after them. So yeah, we're down like okay. So I have a, how do I say this here? So my wife's ex, who we have a great relationship, lives down in Briarcrest.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, he goes to school in Avonlea. I'm getting towards what I'm talking about here is, like, ironically, weather patterns. Like, you guys, Mossbank's a little bit more south and a little bit more west, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're kind of in an area down there that, like, can be like, I know Avonlea can be like 5 or 6 degrees hotter or colder than Regina. So, like, as far as the last couple seasons or the history that you've been in farming, has there been good, like, I mean, has it been good weather down there for farming?
Yeah, like the last few years have been pretty dry, but you know, we were on the edge of the really, really dry. Literally 10 miles west of us, yields went from, you know, maybe we were getting a 30 bushel crop in the drought. Guys were getting 10 miles west, and it just,
like, that's a devastating year.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, and we're talking 10 miles, and that's where I was getting at, is that, like, there's this crazy phenomenon, and I'm not sure what it is, down in that southwest corner of the province. Like, I mean, anyway, I'm glad it worked on your favor, though.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, like, that's good. The farm's still around, so that's awesome. Yeah. So when you got into the farm, like, I mean, obviously, great grandpa had his. There was great, like, did you meet your great grandpa?
No, I never met him.
No, never met him. So it was just your dad that had the farm. Obviously, he took over his great grandfather's. You live on that. So was there an expansion process during your days at the farm? Like, we started farming, or I did. I graduated in '98, so 2000. I was kind of back before farming got really sexy, though. Like all my buddies, they wanted nothing to do with the farm. They left. Or the oil patch or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I shouldn't say all of them, because there's kind of a core group of guys that I grew up with that are 5 or 6 of us that are still, you know, we're all buddies and we farm. So the farm expanded from there to what it is today, and just
that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so you say about 10,000 acres total, and you've got some that are pasture, and then the other part of it is grain. Eh? Yeah, right on. Great size farm. Like, and I mean, that was a big thing for us moving to Regina, and Mazer Group were moving to Regina, is the size of the like, you're amongst elite in Manitoba. You know, like, a 10,000 acre farm is a big farm in Manitoba. You're typically 4. You know, 4 is a good size. 4 or 5 is a good size. There's lots of 2,500, 3,000 acre farms, and then 10,000 acre and above, you're amongst the elite. So we had a lot of learning to do when we come here. So what's one thing I will ask you, does technology play a big role in your farm?
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
Just some of the stuff we can do, like we see 24 hours a day.
Yep.
GPS, that's getting to be old technology now, auto steer, and you can if it's dusty, you don't have to worry about exactly where the end of that drill is, because it's where it needs to be.
Yep. And it's such a big part now, especially like you said, you're sowing 24 hours a day. The tractor's driving for you now. Yeah. And I mean, like, I'm sure you're utilizing JD Link.
Yeah.
That's where all your stuff is. Yeah. See, on the New Holland side of things, we've got a big catch up area to do there, because I mean, John Deere, I'm not gonna get into, like, because I mean, where am I going with this? We didn't need much technology in Manitoba because we sold our equipment on mechanics. Like, I mean, as far as combines go, like, we'd go into the field and drop pans and say, look at the difference, right? But like, we also, when we got here, had a very big customer threatening to go to John Deere because of the technology, because it's so important for fleet management and, like farm data. Like, I mean, you get your layering and all that kind of stuff. And you have essentially have an online farm which we, even 5 years ago, we didn't have that. Maybe 10 years ago, maybe a little more than that. But it's been such a big part, and we have such a big catching up to do on the New Holland side, but we're getting there. But yeah, it's crazy how much technology has gotten into the farming space. So it's good to hear that. Heard about the X9. Are they going to try one? Maybe.
We'll see.
Yeah.
They're just. I don't like to pioneer anything, so once it's out and it's proven, then we'll take a serious look. But
you know where the twin rotor idea came from, though.
Yeah, I heard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right on. Yeah. I just want to make sure that was clear.
I've got a buddy. He's a John Deere salesman who says John Deere lets everybody perfect stuff and then they just copy it. So.
Well, we've been perfecting it for 45 years. So, like, I mean, it's, I tell you, yeah, like, I mean, it's a monster of a machine, that's for sure. Like, the X9 and it'll be interesting to see how things go throughout the next couple of years. And I like the wordage you use there, that John Deere lets everybody perfect things and then, does it itself. Couple things there our patent ran out, so they jumped on it. And, there is, I mean, it's a different machine than a CR twin rotor combine, right? Like, I mean, you can't make it obviously exactly the same, but and there is some pioneering time there.
So does New Holland have a combine that size?
Yep.
Out now?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because the X9, would they call it a class 10 or is it a class 9?
I think it's a class 10.
Class 10, yeah. So we've got a CR 10.9.
Okay.
Yeah, which like all of our, like, we sell one or two maybe a year. Like our 9.9, it will get the job done. Like, the funny thing about combining is that there's so many combines, there's so many wearables inside. Like, I mean, the bigger you go, the bigger head you got. You're pulling so much product into that machine. Like, you only want to go so fast, right?
Yeah.
Or else, you're going to start spitting bolts out everywhere, right? Like, I mean, but yeah, no, we've definitely got a combine that can run beside that one. And in fact, there's a new series of CR coming out. I don't know, should I say this or not, but there's a new series of CR coming out. Doing a little bit of demoing this year. I think they said there'll be 30 or 40 available next year, and we're talking for the whole market. So, like, if we get like 4 or 5 up here, that would be awesome, which I think we could probably get more because, anyway. But, and then, for 25 for full release, 2025 for full release, and it's supposed to do a nice dance around those X9. So we'll just see what happens, though, right? Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what happens. So, yeah, it's all good equipment. So I didn't get you to pick your favorite one on here, and I'm going to let you pick whatever you want.
Whatever I want.
Yeah.
I would be a big bud guy, man. I hate to do that.
No, and it's okay. And the only reason I said don't pick them before to Carson is that they've been picked already. It's funny though. It's like the two most unique tractors on the wall. I mean, they're going to get picked, right?
Yeah.
So
I did do some scanning there. I was looking for an 895 because we did have a 895 Versatile.
Oh, you did, eh? Yeah, I've only got the newer series. Well, there's some older ones. Like, I mean, I told the story to Carson about Dad seeing the Versatile 900. Like, there's a 900 back there, and there's something else too. But yeah, there's not that. Like, it would be the same series as, like, if you look at the second one from the end, you see the white Ford on the second shelf.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a Ford. I think that's a 946 right there, or an 846 right beside it. It's like that's the same series you're talking about, right? Like it's that same shape.
Yeah, but it's the red color.
Yes,
still, right?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So those two tractors were coming from the same factory, eh?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So those Ford New Hollands actually had a little versatile decal on them.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's some history there. Yeah. So
Sure.
right on, man. Yeah, we don't have a fun segment. Should we leave it at that?
Yeah, no, just keep it short. We're at over 10 minutes. So
Cool. Let's do it. Make it a little short. Doug, I want to thank you very much for popping on here. It was a real pleasure having you.
Sure. Thanks for having me.